Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today I'm going to be showing you a steering wheel and pedals working on the Nintendo Switch. Now this is going to be the full setup and you will see how easy it is to do. So this makes the racing games on the Nintendo Switch so much more enjoyable, like Mario Kart, Gear Club and Mantis Burn. Now the good thing is we can get all this set up for under 30 UK pounds because we're using an old PlayStation 3 steering wheel which you can pick up really cheaply now. I got this from CEX in the UK, which is a high street shop with a 2-year guarantee for 10 UK pounds, so very cheaply. And then all you need is one adapter, which is the Magic-NS adapter by MayFlash, and you can pick these up between 15 and 20 UK pounds on places like Amazon and eBay. So if you're willing to spend £30, you will be able to get the steering wheel and pedals working really well on the Switch, and it's so easy to do as well. Now the problem I had in the past is that a lot of games like Mario Kart make you use A to accelerate and B to brake. You can't map the buttons. Well, that's not a problem because on this particular steering wheel here, it's really easy to map the buttons. I don't have to do anything via the software. It can be all done on here. So I can map A to this one here, which is going to be my accelerator, and I can map B to my brake, and it only takes a few seconds to do. And now we can then use the pedals obviously on the floor. I've just got them up here at the moment just to show you it working. Now if you're interested in this particular steering wheel here, this is made by Thrustmaster and it's a 3-in-1 Ferrari GT experience. Now I think it's called a 3-in-1 because it basically works on the PlayStation 3, the PC and also the PlayStation 2. There's no force feedback or anything, it's just a very simple device, but the games on the Nintendo Switch are still very simple racing games, more like arcade-based ones. Now, if you are wondering if a force feedback wheel is going to work on a Nintendo Switch, well, I've got a T150 Thrustmaster one, which works for the PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3. Unfortunately, although I can navigate around the screen and stuff, I can't actually use the steering wheel. So the force feedback steering wheel is not working on it. I'm not sure why. I don't fully understand how the force feedback ones actually work, but I do know that this one works perfectly. So good thing is it's really easy to set up. All we have to do is get our adapter and we just need to plug it in to a spare USB port like so, and then when you plug it in it's going to be flashing one of 3 colours or one of 4 colours depending on how old the adapter is or whether you've updated it or not. We want to make sure that it's flashing on the red one, so if I was to hold this down now it's going to go to purple. And then if I was to hold it down again, it's going to go to, I think it's blue next or green. I think it's blue. Blue, there we go. Hold it down again, it's going to go to green, and then it's going to go back to red. So you need to make sure that you're on the red one. Okay, so we're on the red one now. Then all we have to do is get the cable that comes out of the Thrustmaster steering wheel. This one here, and we're going to be using a USB port. And I'm just going to be plugging that in to the MayFlash Magic-NS adapter, like so. And that is it, that is the steering wheel connected up. Now obviously we've got our pedals connected into this port here. And now basically, to make it sync up, we just have to hit anything on the steering wheel. So let's just turn the wheel. And there we go, you can now see it's synced up already. Right, okay, so I want to show you how to map the buttons because this is really important, because by default the right pedal here, the accelerator, is ZR and this is ZL, which is fantastic for games like Mantis Burn and also Gear Club, but no good for Mario Kart because on Mario Kart they want you to use A to accelerate and B to brake. Well, it's not a problem because all we have to do is remap the buttons here onto there, and then it will work without us worrying about what the Nintendo Switch, whether you can or cannot remap the buttons via the settings in the Nintendo Switch game. So all we're going to do is, I'm just going to go down to test input just to show you how the remapping works. So at the moment it's just mimicking a Pro Controller. We've got a home button here, we've got minus, plus. If you hit these two together it will do the capture or also record video. We've got a D-pad, we've got our R2 and R3 up here, so obviously right and left, and then left clicking and right clicking. So we've got quite a good range of buttons. Right, so if I go to test input devices, now test controller buttons. Now when I press this one here, it's going to come up as A, and when I press this one here, it's going to come up as B. Now I want that to be working on the accelerator down here, because at the moment when I do the accelerator here, it's coming up as ZR, and when I do the brake, it's coming up as ZL, which is fine for most of the games, but not games like Mario Kart. So this is all we have to do to remap the buttons. All we have to do is tap these two, the plus and the minus at the same time, and it will start to do nothing there, and then we need to press A, and it's flashing, and now we need to just do that. And now if you have a look up here, every time I do this, it's going to do A. So that's how simple it is to remap it. Now if we want to do the brake up there, and which is B, again we just do both of them, hit B there, and then do brake here. And now can you see it's coming up as brake all the time. So now we've got accelerate and brake, A and B. That's how easy it is to do. And again, if for example we're going to be doing a gear club, then I want to have the gears on here. So all I'd have to do is, if I wanted to do gears on here, I would do the same process again, but instead of hitting the right accelerator, I would just hit the paddle up, and then that's going to be the upshift, and then do B for the downshift. So it's really straightforward to do. Other thing you need to know is we can change the sensitivity. Now, normal is just going to be a steady red like that, and that will work for most games. But on Mario Kart, I find it works better if you put it onto high sensitivity. So I'm just going to show you how to do that now. Just going to mount the camera. Right, so to do that, we just need to touch the D-pad anywhere and do the two paddles, and you will see that will start to flash. So if I was to hold that there and then do that for a few seconds, then let go, and now that will be flashing. So now my wheel's going to be more sensitive. So you just need to play around. You're not going to jump straight into a game and get it all set up perfectly to begin with, but just take a couple of minutes out just to work out whether it works better on normal steering or high sensitivity, and then remap the buttons and away you go. And then for the rest of the game, then it's going to be fine. Now obviously when I unplug this steering wheel again, it's going to go back to default. So every time you turn on your Nintendo Switch, you are going to have to set this up. But it only takes a few seconds once you're used to it. So I know now on Mario Kart to have it on high sensitivity and basically using the pedals for accelerate and brake. And then these by default will be already R and L, because if I go into test controller again, and if I do my paddle there, you can see it's coming up as R and the other one's L. Right, okay, so let me just show you Mario Kart working, then I'm going to show you the other two games working. Right, so remember now I've got my pedals down on the floor, and I'm just going to be using the steering here, and I'm using this for my power up and my drifting around the corners. I'm using the paddles. Right, I'll put it down to 150cc. Good thing is there's very little lag on this, it works really well. Right, okay, so as you can see now I'm not using anything to accelerate or brake. That's brake. So I'm using the pedals for that. Right, so you can see how much more fun it is using the steering wheel. Now I know you can put on motion controls and you can buy the little Nintendo Switch steering wheels, but you've still got to use your thumb to do the accelerating and the brake, while with this it's nice to be able to use your feet to accelerate and brake. Right, okay, so you get the idea there. Let me now show you some of the other games working. Right, let's go to Gear Club. Now I want to reset the controls back to how they were before, because I don't want A and B to be on the accelerator anymore. I want it to be ZR and ZL, which is the default that Gear Club works on. So all I've got to do is where the plus and the minus buttons are, I just need to hold them down for a couple of seconds, and then it's going to default back to normal. And also I want to take it off the high sensitivity steering as well. So again, I'm going to push any direction on the D-pad and my two paddles for a couple of seconds. and now it's gone back to solid. So now this is as default again, which actually works really well on the Gear Club. The only problem is the gears up and down, because I like to play it with the manual gears because it's more fun. So I'm just going to have to change that. So at the moment it's working via here. I'm going to put A onto the upshift and I'm going to put B onto the downshift because they're the gears. So I'm going to press these two buttons, this one, that one for the upshift, and then these two buttons, that one and that one for the downshift. So now we should be able to play this. And again, it's going to be working on the pedals down here, so we don't have to use our thumb to accelerate. Right pedal to accelerate, and I'm using the left one to brake. You can see there the brake lights are coming on when I'm doing that. And now I can use this to move up the gears. And the left hand one, left paddle to move down. Right, okay, so let's get going. So that's first gear, second gear, third gear, second gear. Now I've only had this game a couple of days, so I'm not very good at it. And also it takes a bit of time getting used to the steering wheel as well. Now I find this one works best at normal sensitivity. When I put it on high sensitivity, it just seems to be going from one side to the other. Now when I first of all downloaded this game, I was really disappointed because it cost me £45. So in my mind I was sort of thinking, I wonder whether it would be similar to a Gran Turismo or a Forza 7 game, but it's not at all. It was a mobile port and it still feels completely like a mobile port. Realistically, it's the sort of game that you'd be happy to pay £15 or £20 for. It's just that on the Nintendo Switch we still haven't really got many racing games. So beggars can't be choosers, you know. It's good that it's on there, it's just that it still does feel to me like a mobile game. It doesn't feel anything. It feels much more like a mobile game than, for example, Forza 7 on the Xbox. Now, I appreciate that you're never going to get the graphics and the gameplay from Forza 7 but on the Switch, but for example, I play Gran Turismo on my little PSP and it's much more enjoyable than this. So I wouldn't rush out and get this game. But still, the more you play it, I mean, when I first of all turned it on, I hated it. But now I'm getting used to it, and it is actually more enjoyable than I thought it would be when I first of all set it up. But still, it's not worth £45, in my opinion. Now, this game, on the other hand, is really good. Mantis Burn. It was only 15 UK pounds, and it kind of reminds me of a sort of grown-up Micro Machines, or you know, years ago with my Spectrum 48, we used to play things like Grand Prix Simulator and Jet Bike Simulator, which was a bird's eye view racing around the track. And to me, this game is, this is really fun. This is really good, and I think this is worth the money. But just, you know, different opinions. A lot of people might love Gear Club Unlimited. Now with this one, we don't have to change anything because all we're going to be using is accelerate, brake, and the boost. So yeah, with boost you can either do it with your thumb here on, I think it's A, or I'm going to leave it mapped to the up because I'm still using the same mapping that I did on Gear Club. Although this is quite a simple game, it feels really nice drifting around the corners and it's quite addictive. And this is the sort of game which is really nice in handheld mode as well. Again, I've got this on normal sensitivity. You'd have to have a play around with it to see what you think's best. And again, I'm using the pedals to accelerate, and then if I was to brake there, you can see it going backwards. I'm not using my hands. Now the game might not kind of look all that, but it is, the gameplay is really nice on it. Now I'm just going to build up my boost just to show you the boost working. Right, okay, so now let me just get onto a bit of a straight and I'll just show you the boost. So I'm using the right paddle here for the boost. Let's just do it now. There you go. So if you like your racing games, have a look into spending £30. I mean, you might even be able to get the PlayStation 3 wheel cheaper on places like eBay, but I presume the postage is going to whack the price up. Remember, this was £10 from a UK high street shop, so they had to make their profit on as well and give you a 2-year guarantee. And CEX, if you're from the UK, might well have more. I didn't actually check their stock levels off them. I got this quite a few months ago now. But if anything, the PlayStation 3 stuff should be getting even cheaper, not more expensive. Now, if you'd have other variants of PlayStation 3 wheels, or maybe a PlayStation 2 wheel, or if you have maybe an Xbox or a PlayStation 4 wheel that you know works, if you already have this MayFlash adapter, then add it down to the comments below, because then it will help other people out, because some people might not want to buy the adapter if the steering wheel's not going to work. So if you know it works, add it to the comments below and say whether you think it works well or not. And if you're wondering, does this work in handheld mode as well? Well, yes it does. Obviously, you're not really going to be using the steering wheel in handheld mode, but just out of curiosity, let me just show you that working now. So all we need to do is take the switch out, take the USB adapter out, and then we just need to plug it in via a USB-C on-the-go cable. Now, if you get one of these from Amazon, often you get them in a little kit that comes with the USB-C cable. Right, now remember, the buttons have been remapped again now, just back to standard, because I've unplugged it, so it goes back to default every time you unplug it. So now the paddles won't be working for my boost. So there we go, as you can see, it's now working in tabletop mode. So obviously not ideal, because the steering wheel's so big, you're not really going to be using this in any other mode apart from TV mode. But still, out of curiosity, you can see that it is working there. Right, so that is it. As you can see, a lot of fun can be had with the PlayStation 3 steering wheel and the pedals on the Nintendo Switch for not a lot of money. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe for more how-to videos. Take care, bye now.